Madison's community cares teams are rolling out new vans, giving people in a behavioral health crisis a calmer, more comfortable place to get help. WMTV's Tabitha Bland talked with Madison fire officials about the new cares vans and explains how they're changing emergency response in Madison.
The CARES team says these vans are designed to bring care to people where they are while keeping them out of the back of a squad car or an ambulance. Each vehicle has a table, seating, medication, and supplies to allow a private one-on-one conversation and personalized care instead of a trip to the ER or jail. The CARES team pairs a Madison Fire Department community paramedic with a Journey mental health crisis worker to respond to those calls. The program has faced possible budget cuts, but after voters did approve a city referendum, it's now getting the support to keep operating and even expand. Team members saying these vans have been a long time coming.
This snowy day is a perfect day of illustrating why it's so important to have a bigger vehicle like this and get people out of the elements to have a thoughtful discussion. The beauty
Right now, CARES has 2 of these vans on the road, and they expect 2 more to be added, doubling the fleet and expanding how often and how far these teams can respond. Live in studio, Tabitha Bland, WMTV 15 News.
All right, Tabitha, thank you. Sun Prairie is already working with Madison's CARES team, and Brecker says these new vans will be part of its regional response, giving more communities access to mobile behavioral health care.